Now we're going to look at slideshows. Remember when we were talking about galleries, looking at galleries, I said that I would not use a slideshow gallery, I would actually use a real slideshow. So here we are. You find them under interactive, and you have full width slideshows and you have box slideshows. The box slideshows, let me just drag one here real quick, will just go from one end of the page to the other. They are not the ones that I really like to use, so I'm just going to delete this and I'm going to add a full width slideshow, because those are actually the ones that work much more nicely. Now they go from one end of the browser to the other. I'm just going to move this up and just down a little bit like this. So in default they always have 3 slides, and so if you want to manage the slides, if you want to add slides, then you do that from here, or you can duplicate slides. But basically what we need to do is, before we start doing anything else, we need to delete all the content that is actually on the site itself. Now what this person who put the slideshow together did is they put a container box here, and I will be talking more about container boxes in a further video that will be in the same post, and then they have some typography on top of it, so it's just basic text, and then they have a button which says read more. Now I'm going to delete all of that because I want to put in my own content, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the slide background. I'm going to go to image, side files. Unfortunately Wix has this habit of always starting out with their own images. I'm just going to make this a little bit narrower here. So now I have added one of my own images. Now I'm going to go to the next slide. Again, delete their container box and then change the slide background. Again, we're stuck with the Wix images for starters, but that can't be helped, unfortunately. So now let's add the cheese thing. And now let's go to the third one, and oops, before I do that I need to actually delete this, and let's add a third food image into this one as well. So the avocados, let's say. Now if I were to want to add one more, I would just say add new slide, and it actually gives me the image of what is on the last slide. Now I'm just going to go change slide background. It's really annoying to always have to start with the Wix images, that it doesn't remember where it left off, but hey, that's life. So, and on this one then I have a chocolate image. Now, one thing you need to pay attention to, you changed the images, but you didn't change the color of the background, because every image has a different background. So these two are blue because one of them was just basically a dupe of the other one, and actually this one is gray, as you can see, and then the other ones are blue. So what you need to do is you need to actually put in your own background, because that is important for the transitions, to which I'll get to in just a minute. So I'm just going to make them like a kind of like this gray, and then I'm going to go to the next one and again pick that same gray and go to the next one. You navigate with these buttons, which can sometimes be a little bit hard to grab, but right now I'm having luck and they're actually working very nicely. So now I have also changed the backgrounds, and unless you change the backgrounds you will get into trouble when you are actually working with the transitions between the slides, which are quite an important element. Now let's go back to the first one. So remember when I dragged this slideshow there was some text on it, so how about I want to do the same thing, and let me do what they did as well. Let me actually add a box here, a container box. Let me make it a bit longer and a bit narrower, and I'm also going to decrease the opacity here so that we still see the background of the image. And now I'm just going to add some text. So just grab this heading here, and when I drag it inside that box, it's actually going to say attach to box. So now this is attached to the box, and if I move the box, the text will actually move with it. So I'm just going to say yummy salmon, and then also just add a paragraph, which I'm not even going to change because, again, I keep saying this and I can't say it enough. This is not about designing a slideshow. This is only showing you how a slideshow actually works. Now, in a slideshow, it's quite important that we have a sense of alignment between the slides. So I'm going to add some guides here, so that when we put in another design element here, it's actually going to align with what we already have on the first slide. So let's now move to the second slide. I'm just going to do the second one. So we have these guides here that show us where everything was. So in the second one, I'm going to actually add a dark box to here and make it like this, and then again decrease the opacity a little bit so that we still see the cheese. And now I'm just going to go to the text again, add a heading, and again attach it to here. We'll actually align it with this, and now this is going to say yummy cheese, but this time I'm going to make this white, obviously, so that we can read it. And then again add another paragraph here as well, and make that white as well. Now on the first two slides, now we have text, and then on the other two we don't, but I just put those there to show the transitions. Now if we click on settings, now that we have the content in place, how long is it going to be between the slides? Now that will depend on how much content you have for people to actually be able to take in. And also remember, you can also add videos to slideshows. So if you have a video, then you may want to think about that. So I'm just going to make it 3 seconds. Do I want this to stop autoplay when I actually hover over the slideshow? That might be a good idea, but I'm going to leave it for now. Should it autoplay on loading? Yes, I think it should. Now, if by default this setting will come like this, and then you only have 2 transitions. But when you click on this, then you actually get some more, and the other 2 that you get are actually quite nice. So I'm going to click on the horizontal, but I'm going to increase the duration of that transition so that we can actually see that transition work. And where do they, from left, from right? I'm just going to do it from right, keep it on from right. And let's see, the layout, that's also quite important. Do I want to show the navigation arrows? They are right here. Do I want them to be bigger? Yes, I do. Do I want them to come in closer? Do I want to show the slide buttons? These are the things down here. Yes, why not? But I want to make them a little bit bigger. Do I want to bring them closer to the edge? This is the offset, and I can just make them come up or down. Do I want the spacing to increase or decrease? Let's just leave it the way that they had it. And now let's see how this actually works. So let me just go back here, and let's click on the preview. Oops, sorry. I forgot to fix that before I did the preview. So now let's look at it tells me that some of my slide content is outside of the frame. Yes, I want to hide content outside of the frame, so what are they talking about? Okay, so now it's actually working. Now we have the blue arrows here. We would need to change the color of those, but basically this is how the slideshow would work. Now the first two have text on them, the rest don't, but obviously if we do a slideshow we would actually be thinking about doing that. Now let's go to design, because we have these blue navigation arrows and we don't want them to be blue, we want them to be white. So we fix that as well now. And there are other kinds of arrows that you can actually add to this. I'm just going to keep the ones that they have here right now. So basically that's how slideshows work. They are really great. They are really good for putting in interesting content. They work very well at the top of a page rather than somewhere in the middle, like an entrance thing. And now we will continue on to something else.